Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Jim Grisanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and we're back here tonight for a conversation to support the Sangam 20 conference. This is happening now in India. Well, actually, it's a global conference because now it's 2020 and everything is global. I'm here with one of the speakers, Mia Urman from Israel. Mia, welcome. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here and nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you for the first time. I saw your name on the speaker list and I said, oh, that's somebody I don't know. And that's good because I use these conferences, quite frankly, to meet new people. So we do lots of interviews, and these are basically profiles to get to know the developers and the DBAs in the community. And so that's why we're here.
Like I said, I'm a longtime fan of the Groundbreaker community, and I've done lots of videos in the past. So it's
good.
Nice to see new faces.
Excellent. Yes. I am somewhat new on the team. I joined the team, but a couple of years ago. So let's talk a little bit about you, the community, the technology you're talking about, things like that. So your session is tomorrow or the next day? Okay. So
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. So what's up with your session? What are you talking about?
So tomorrow my session is something I've been a long time passionate about. The funniest thing is I've been doing almost the same session for almost 2 decades, right? 20 years. I've been doing Oracle Forms modernization sessions, right? So first we were trying to modernize people from version, 4.0 to 4.5, then from 4.5 to, 6i, 9.5, 10, 11, 12c, etc. But this one, what's really exciting about the past few years is really the opening up of cloud opportunities for Oracle Forms developers. So this time we're really going to show Oracle Forms developers how they could take their existing investments, their Oracle Forms applications, and deploy them on cloud, on OCI, right? Run them through chatbots using Oracle Digital Assistant, reface them using Oracle Apex or Oracle Visual Builder Cloud Service. So it's really an incredible way of, in 1 hour, I am cramming something like 70 slides. My designer had a heart attack.
70 slides?
Really 70 slides. It's going to be like an auctioneer. But I think it's really important for everybody to just get a little bit of a taste of the possible, right? The art of the possible is what they call me at AuraPlayer. To really be able to see what could happen even with your existing on-premise legacy, the oldest thing you got, how we're able to, using our solution and partners, bring these applications into the cloud generation to join, the Oracle family in the cloud, basically.
So Oracle Cloud seems to, OCI seems to be really making quite a resurgence recently. And, you just named a bunch of technologies there that are involved with what you're going to be talking about. Is this primarily for DBAs or for users or for developers or some combination of everything?
So it's not for DBAs, which is probably why we don't know each other because I'm not a Java developer and I'm not a DBA. In the past, there used to be a whole kind of middle track of Oracle developers, right? So what happened was about 20 years ago, when Oracle began building their own e-business suite applications, there were tons of people who used to develop either in Visual Basic, right, of Microsoft, or in Oracle Forms. And tons of people built custom applications. Whereas today, the big community use Oracle Apex, and most people build their next generation tools in Oracle Apex. And that's primarily focused for the DBAs because it's held in the database. There is still a very large community of people developing in Oracle Forms, mostly maintaining legacy systems and, add-ons to that or customizations to eBusiness Suite. But they're really at a crossroads, right? They don't know how to move these existing systems into the next generation. Most of them may be developing also in Apex for newer modules, but, they kind of leave their forms by the wayside. So we really want to try to show these Oracle applications or developers or middle tier developers that there is a way forward to be able to take the back-end logic that they've created and really bring that into the next generation tools. So that's hopefully what people will gain out of our session. And that's what we do with our product at AuraPlayer, right? So our product basically enables the bridge, that gap.
So is this a complex? So you're talking about modernizing, right? You're bringing your stuff up using modern tools. Is this a complex migration issue, or is it just relatively straightforward?
So that's what's interesting about it. The concept that I'm going to be talking about in the session, I'm actually giving 5 options to modernize, right? Anything from just upgrading to the newest version, all the way to migrating completely away. But the solution that we focus on at AuraPlayer is a modernization solution that's not migrating, that's basically wrapping the existing system with REST services. So you don't have to change your business logic, do a risky redevelopment project or anything like that. You kind of just wrap it with a REST service and plug a new front end on top, whether that be an Apex application, VBCS, Java application, or even a chatbot. And it's really very exciting because, we've been doing a lot of joint, procedures and customer stories with Oracle surrounding that
Cool.
recently. To be able to really leverage these existing investments without, if you think today of people who run mainframe, right? People, all the banks and whatever else, it was way, people said, let's just leave them in the corner and figure out how to connect to them. So we're kind of doing the same thing with Oracle Forms, right? Wow. But Oracle Forms today really has been, Michael Ferrante, who's the product manager, has been doing incredible things. Getting new versions, cloud configurations, DevOps connectivity, running on OCI. So, it's not a maintenance mode product by any means. They really have been upgrading with each version. And with AuraPlayer's help, they've been extending to chatbots, Visual Builder, and other third-party tools. So it's been an incredible journey to watch the product evolve over 2 decades.
Yeah, 2 decades is quite an evolution. I mean, you must be able to get very detailed since you've been involved with that specific thing for so long. A lot of times, I talk to developers, and the industry changes so quickly, and people are always embracing new things. And sometimes people get a little overwhelmed, because it's always new. But if you have some connection to some history, you can. This is just me speculating. If you have some connection to an older system and you bring the new in, it gives you something to work with. Something like some sort of a basis. So you can grow. So everything is not always 100% new. Is that
right?
Somewhat.
Well, for us, it's all about not throwing away the baby with the bathwater.
Well, that's a better way of saying it, right?
So things are still new. Things are still evolving. Right. There's still always new technologies you have to kind of incorporate in your systems. But that doesn't mean that what you have needs to go away. So, we've been involved in we've seen a few migration projects where people have said, we need to get away from forms. And they basically redevelop their entire application in Java Swing. So Java Swing today is completely deprecated. You cannot, you can't even run it. So that was if somebody redeveloped 6 years ago, they would have done it in technologies where today they're kind of deader than forms, so to speak.
Right.
So a lot of times it's kind of a big risk to choose a next generation technology when the front end user experience technologies are like a flip switch, right? Just in the past 5 years, we've had JSP, JSF, Oracle ADF, Apex, Angular, React, Ionic. You could just go on and on. So choosing that next generation technology today that will last you the next 5 to 10 years, I don't even know if that's possible, right? Because the market right now is in such a kind of volatile place.
Right.
So REST services is, in my opinion, a great way to go, because then you only have to deal with the front end, right? The user interface of your application, and not, the whole shebang every time you want to migrate away.
Yeah, these are complex issues in terms of the rate of change and all these new tools out there. So interesting to hear that. Interesting to hear that evolution. So tell me about AuraPlayer. You're the CEO, right? This is something that you founded?
Yeah. I founded AuraPlayer, when was it? 2013 with partner, where the truth is we had been doing it as a consulting offering for many years in Oracle Forms modernization projects, right? So we had a call center who wanted to run Oracle Forms from their IVR telephony system. We had a company who wanted to run Oracle Forms from PeopleSoft direct to printer for some reports, and all of these kind of complex integration projects. And we realized that we could actually automate functionality within the forms as services, SOAP or REST services. And in that manner, we actually, cracked open the black box and allowed any next generation application to run the business logic trapped within the forms themselves. So we've been working hand in hand with Oracle for many years. Through all the different cycles of products we mentioned, right? Through Portal, through ADF, through Oracle Mobile Framework. Now with Visual Builder, we have several customer stories. We're on the customer panel we just had last night for Oracle Digital Assistant Cloud, because we have EBS plugins as well for Oracle eBusiness Suite. So it's been incredible to see, Oracle work side by side with us to help these forms customers move into their next generation tools. And of course, our relationship with the Oracle Forms PM to really, watch the modernization and evolution of the product. So
cool. Interesting. I've always interested to meet entrepreneurs as well, by the way, new friends and entrepreneurs.
Exactly. I was about to say, I definitely work too many hours a day. And you were here when I had to shoo 3 little boys out of my room to begin the session. So it's definitely a challenge, entrepreneurship with women in technology ribbon, but yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned women in technology. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, you're also an Oracle ACE director. Yeah. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Oracle ACE program, sort of how'd you get involved, and a little bit about the community and some of the projects that you're involved there.
So I got involved with the Oracle ACE community originally through the Oracle user group communities. So I started looking online and seeing that there was so little presence in my area, right? Oracle application development, where people were not necessarily, there seemed to be a lot of database content and middleware content, but like the application development. So I started, presenting at conferences, writing blog posts, and doing more in that area. And I was lucky to have a lot of great mentors in the program. Jennifer Nichols, who I'm sure you know, is incredible. Deborah Lilly as well. And, many others who were, very significant in mentoring me through the process and helping me learn more and more. Helly, again, I shouldn't have said one name because now I'm like going through the Rolodex, but there's definitely been a lot of ACE directors, women who have helped through the way, and now I do mentorship as well of women in technology to try to get them to feel more comfortable to present, to be able to start their own blogs and kind of advocate for themselves in the workplace more. So that's definitely also one of my passions. In fact, I won an award this year for Women in Technology for the Oracle Developer Group, which is, again, one of the user groups I'm pretty active in.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I do a fair number of conversations with ACEs of one level or another, and they all describe a very interesting community. They all sort of have this bond with other people, and other people have helped them along. I mean, it's just a community, right? So people do, help each other. And I know that people who are involved in the program, either in the community or at the company, are very much interested in growing the community. Is it in Israel where you are? Is it, are there a number of ACEs there?
There actually are. I was just saying, it's funny to even think that from such a small country, so many ACE directors have come from there. But I think it's more of a culture of sharing, right? To be an ACE director is not somebody who just happens to be very bright. And this is something I learned from Kelly Potvin, who's another person who's been incredible mentor to me. But the whole key is to be able to share the information, convey the information, and bring people up with you, right? So if I'm a genius expert, that doesn't really help anyone. But I feel in Israel, it's a very sharing culture. People all kind of help out each other, send each other messages, etc. So I don't know the exact statistics, but I think about 5 Israeli ACE directors,
wow.
Which is quite a significant amount for the size of the country. But the truth is, I'm also a Canadian who lives half the time in America. So I don't know which hats I'm under in the ACE program. But yeah, it could be my Canadian sharing spirit as well.
Well, it's interesting that you're presenting at Sangam, which is primarily the Indian community, and India is obviously a very large country, and we have comparatively small number of ACEs there. And the potential for growth in India is obviously very, very massive.
Right.
And what's cool about India is a lot of young people are getting involved, fresh out of school, and things like that. And Have you ever been involved with the India community at all before?
No, this is my first time.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
so happy because Sai, who's the head of the community, has reached out to me, I think, God bless him, 6 years or so running.
Yeah.
But it used to be 3 days after the UK OUG, which is the
Right.
UK Oracle User Group.
Right.
And he did it, which he thought was a great idea because that way people who are already traveling could just hop on the plane to India. But as I said, a mother of 3 young children, I would come home with divorce papers if I left for 2 weeks. So I never actually got out there, which I would love to. So now at least I get to virtually visit them. And hopefully one day, who knows what the state of the world will look like, I'll be able to do it.
I'm really interested to hear your reaction because they handle the conference really, really well virtually in terms of your interaction as a speaker, but they do an equally good job when you're live there. And of course, it's obviously a different experience when you're live. It's just a really, really fantastic experience. Very, very welcoming people for the community as well as speakers. But
I've seen just on social media, it's been amazing.
Right. Exactly.
The outreach, the amount of people getting excited about it. So I'm really looking forward.
Yeah. So next year you'll have to go on the OG Yatra tour, which is 15 cities, 15 city tour. Size
Bring
crazy.
It on.
Yeah,
Bring it on. Get my husband to agree and I'm in.
Yeah. It's quite a community. I'm really impressed with them. So, okay. Well, Mia, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure meeting you. I now have a new place to visit someday in the future when we're allowed out of the house.
Yes, you are always invited. Hummus on me.
Okay, good. I now know 2 people in Israel, and so I can build my personal network, there from that. So
you could
good
come.
luck.
I'll introduce you to plenty more to do interviews with. You don't have to worry.
Cool. Excellent. And good luck
We
with your
don't want
session.
for experts.
And good luck with your session tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.